We are the rock and roll rowdies.
Oh, okay. So I was on tour in Japan with King Crimson, the Robert Fripp, Tony Levin, Adrian Ballou and Bill Bruford. And we were in Japan and we were on the bullet train going down to Osaka from Tokyo. And we got talking about drinking. And Robert, being from Somerset, reckons they can hold their liquor in Somerset because they're brought up, they don't have mother's milk, they have fucking scrumpy. Anyway, so
get twisted.
and so, I'm fucking recording here.
Who the fuck out of me?
For fuck's sake, this is a fucking session here.
Oh,
Did you see the fucking light on?
I'm going to have to start again.
We should have a fan in here.
Shut the fuck up.
You told us we should have a fan going.
Grange,
I'm going to have a fucking...
shut up.
All right.
I'm going to have a...
Quiet.
We waited long enough and we started and you come in and fucking ruin it.
Hey,
There's fucking day gone.
When you got to go, you got to go.
Well, fucking go.
You've been up in the cloud room.
Yeah, just...
God, you look out of breath, mate.
Oh, yeah, they're coming down the stairs.
Coming down the stairs.
Up and down the stairs.
Fuck.
Fetch
He's
is safe
fucking
for
got
Wilkie.
fucking droop. Anyway, Mark, I'll start again. So there we were. Robert saying, I'm from Somerset. We drink scrumpy. And you northern bastards don't know how to drink. And so we started drinking on the bullet train on the way there. We arrived at the hotel in Osaka and went straight to the bar and continued drinking. And by this time we were all pissed. Well, Robert was so drunk, two of us had to carry him to bed. He was so drunk that scrumpy drinking Somerset war carrot cruncher that we had to carry him to bed. He'd come down for breakfast the next morning and he went, "Which one of you bastards puked on me last night?" I woke up covered in puke. It must have been one of you bastards.
It wasn't me. Fucking brilliant. When I was in Tokyo with Foreigner, I was going straight on to John Denver, tour accountant, just looking after John and his Learjet. So when Bud, anything happening after this? He goes, "Yeah, we're definitely doing the States." I went, "Should I cancel John Denver?" He said, "Well, the band wants you." I said, "I don't like cancelling." "No, we're definitely doing it." So I cancelled. 2 hours later, "Oh, Wilkie, sorry, mate, we're not going to do it. Don't want to do the States." So I called John Denver. They're like, "Sorry, Wilkie, we just hired somebody." So I went down and got absolutely fucking mullered, drunk as a bastard. And the Hilton in Tokyo was just full of American tourists. And they were all shouting and screaming, and this one couple wanted potato chips. And these Japanese people go, no, we have none. And I was like, "Yes, you fucking do. I've just seen you walk from back there with a big bowl of potato chips." So I went back in the kitchens and I came out with a big bowl of potato chips. And I got my knob out and I put my knob right in the middle of them and I was going out. I was going around the...
Small bowl.
Small bowl.
Yeah, it was like a
bowl.
bowl of soup. It wasn't a big bowl at all. It was like a bowl of soup. And this chick was like grabbing me knob end as I was like walking around Tokyo, the Hilton Hotel. Oh man, those were the days.
So we're on drinking stories?
No, we're on stories. We just tell
stories.
any story you want. We just got a story.
Well, I
to
just
fill
came
in.
I came in when we
Yeah.
were talking about scrumpy and you're on about like drinking
and potato chips, my knob.
Well, the one that comes to mind for me is I was on tour with the Bill Nelson Orchestra in the States, and we'd done a gig at the Ritz, which was like a supper club type of place, and the record company said, "We're buying everybody drinks after the show. Everybody's invited, crew and everybody. Have what you like." So my drink of the day at that time was Bacardi and Coke, and I would get it with lots of Coke and lots of ice. So it was just refreshing. It wasn't necessarily to get bombed unless you had 30 of them. So this time we go in the bar, the guy pours a drink, and it was the end of the gig. I was thirsty. I just downed it straight down, just thinking it was a normal rum and Coke. So I'll have another one of them. And as I got the second one, I felt the effects of the first one. He must have poured 151 rum in a big shot, and so I just became immediately shit-faced. And I don't know if you're going to go out to drink, you might prepare yourself and mentally put a part of your brain into fucking safety mode, but I had none of that. I was just instantly drunk. After a while, luckily I had this little old boiler with me, and she looked after me, and I said, let's go somewhere I can feel comfortable. Went to Eamon Duran's, and as I was leaving the gig, I fell over into a puddle of mud and then banged my head against the door of the taxi. So I put my hand up, I had mud and blood on both sides of my face. Went to Eamon Duran's, walking there, they go, the usual, Granny? Didn't even bat an eyelid. Couple of pints of Guinness just to settle me down, and I had yet to go and check in the hotel. And we were staying, for somehow or other, we had a hotel on Park Avenue, really swanky. And I was trying to check in, but I couldn't formulate the words to describe who I was with, and just kept falling over in this beautiful, really ornate, high-end lobby, and I'm covered in blood and mud, rolling around on the floor, trying to stand up to check in. They wouldn't check me in, and the last thing I remember was seeing the manager of the band and the main guy, Bill Nelson, come walking in, looking at me, and I'm like, "Oh, check me in," and passed out. Yeah, so that's that. So the next day I woke up thinking, where the fuck am I? And everything in the room was oriental, like Chinese drapes. There was like matchbooks by the bed and an ashtray, all in oriental, all Chinese, red dragon wallpaper. I thought I must have been shanghaied. Where the hell am I? I didn't. And I opened the drapes, and I was in New York. They just apparently carried me around to some tourist hotel that would have me and just dumped me in there. So that's the demon drink. Although I wasn't actually intending to. When you least expect it.
No, but that is unusual. I mean, even if you're drunk, you just wake up somewhere and you go, where the fuck am I? I mean, what room is this? You know, as I said, it doesn't have to be drunk or stoned. You're just so tired and travelling everywhere.
Well, we're still on the booze. Yeah. He staying at the Gramercy Park, and the bar in there, the old barman that used to work in there, I think he was called George or something like that. He was famous for his martinis.
Oh, yeah?
Right, so I said, I'll have a vodka martini. No, gin. I think I was having gin. Gin. Nice and dry, couple of olives, right? The martini, lovely, beautiful. Oh, perfect. I'll have another one of them, George. Sits that back. I'm sitting on the high stool at the bar. Finished the second one and fucking just off I went backwards off the stool. Fucking gone, mate. I was gone. The alcohol hit me. It was like, you know, once again, it was probably Tanqueray, which was, you know, you got a gin and tonic in England, and it's Gordon's gin, and that's fucking 20%, and Tanqueray was about 90. You know, super fucking fuel. You know,
in American bars, they don't just give you a six of a Jill or whatever.
In a martini, it was all gin. You know, he put the vermouth in, go like that, and then sling it out, right? So the glass got flavoured, and then he would just fill it up with gin. That he'd had in the cooler, you know, get it all nice and cool. So you had a fucking martini glass full of gin. I didn't realise.
Well, Dean Martin's phrase was with martinis that they're like women's breasts. One's not enough, and three's too many.
Three's too many, yeah.
That's a good quote. Yeah, I've been in that bar. The same period, my first time in New York, we stayed at the Gramercy Park Hotel. I remember watching the bartender. It was just like watching a movie. Because we'd seen all these as kids, we'd seen movies and these big hefty guys and shaking these big drinks. Like in the Bellevue Club, Wilco, I don't think they made martinis.
Of course they did.
But they made it with strong.
Of course they did.
Yeah,
his mum used to drink them. Snowballs, Chinsano lemonade.
Wilco bellies up to the bar at the Bellevue.
That's a cocktail.
Of course they did it.
We'll go bellies up to the bar at the Bellevue. Give me a strong arm, make it dry, and 2 olives.
What kind of an establishment do you think where I go to, for fuck's sake?
Brilliant.
Salubrious.
Yeah, really. What the F are you talking about?
My first to the States was Tequila Sunrises, as Mark mentioned the other day. That was the drink for that summer of 74. Always remember it. It was all so colourful.
Yeah.
After England, Hartlepool,
Different,
and England.
yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the 70s, and here we are. The drinks in the States were just outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
just...
Long,
Yeah.
Long Island iced teas.
Yeah.
There was a lot of places would only serve you 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's you have 2 of them. That's your limit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right then. I'll have a martini, very dry.
2 olives.
2 olives, and
Yeah.
Long Island iced tea on the side.
Yeah, what they didn't have back in those days was any decent wine.
No, not decent
No.
wine.
You could get the spirits are fantastic, but you know I think in the dressing room we'd ask for a bottle of red wine, and we got a bottle of grenadine instead.
Yeah,
you know, that's what they thought
yeah.
was red wine.
Yeah.
They had a fucking clue.
Well, there was no California...
It took until Wilco's
Yeah,
Wines and
Wilkinson's
Spirits,
Wines and Spirits. I mean,
and to educate them.
thank you, Average White Band, you know. Go and teach us about wine. It was fucking brilliant. You
Yeah, I
know.
wasn't drinking wine particularly back then, but yeah, you're right. There's probably nothing. There was vineyards, but they hadn't been accepted yet. Probably.
No, they
It
were
was all
just
French.
ignorant to wine. You know, this is like down south in Florida or somewhere. You know.
But you couldn't even get a cappuccino. Like we'd be into Italy, Mal and me, and coffee was delicious, cappuccinos, lattes, all that stuff. You come to the States and you order a cappuccino, and you'd get something with about 5 different liquors in it, whipped cream and a cherry on top in a glass with a handle. You go, what's this? That's a cappuccino. Oh, it's not. But you don't like it, buddy? Go back to England.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well now Starbucks, you can't fucking move for coffee shops in the States. But there was very little real coffee shops unless you were in a big city. There was very little proper coffee shops. Like you get loads of Denny types cafes, but to get a real cup of
everybody
coffee,
drank coffee, but it was just a standard
It was
Kona or whatever.
That's because the tea was so fucking
Oh, they
terrible.
couldn't make-
You know, they lost the recipe. I mean, you know, we lost the recipe. England lost the recipe for ice. You know, because you could never find ice in England back then. And in America, lost the recipe out to boil water.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah,
nothing boils
Yeah.
to 100 degrees. It cuts off about 98.
Yeah, you get this sort of tepid, the tea
Yeah,
bags floating around.
and the tea bag on the side in a cup of
a cup of lukewarm water.
you get your little hottle. Remember them hottles? It's a hot water bottle.
Yeah.
They call it a hottle.
Yeah, terrible. Terrible.
But we showed them. We converted them. We educated
And then I
them. Right?
discovered on one tour, I was trying to fucking cut down on my fucking alcohol intake, right? So and,
you do
and
that?
light beer just came out,
I don't
right?
get that at
And
all.
I'm thinking, oh, that's
Piss.
light. It's lower in alcohol. It's lighter. You know what I mean? I didn't realise it was lower in calories.
Right.
Because they converted all the sugar into alcohol. And it was actually fucking stronger. Light beer. And I was fucking thinking... And then I think, fucking hell, I'm a bit pissed. I've only had a fucking couple of them fucking light beers.
The first tour of the States again, there's so much ground to cover, and you're not really aware of all the different regions. But I remember we spent most of the time on the East Coast, and me and James, at the time, were into Carlsberg special brews. At least I was. We used to get 2 cases a night in England. It was mayhem. So we were looking for an equivalent. The only thing we could find was maybe in a deli you might get a bottle of Carlsberg Elephant.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same. You know, people kept saying, oh, you're heading out west, man. Yeah, well, when you get to Colorado, man, you'll get Coors. That's some good shit. We go, oh, so we couldn't wait. We finally get there. Oh, there's that Coors they talked about. So it looks just the same as all the other rubbish. Pop the kit. Fucking boring. I mean, it was so disappointing. Now you got all these craft breweries. That's great. We landed in LA. We did a gig at the Santa Monica Civic, and this bloke, one of the crew, goes, "You're English?" I said, "Oh, yeah, English band, English crew." He goes, "You want to go around the corner to the King's Head?" And apparently there was still there now. There's a traditional English pub, and they had almost had real beer. It was great.
Yeah.
But spent the whole time looking for like real
Well, it
beer.
was all Watney's Red back then as well.
which is
And,
crap.
God, what was the other one? It was Watney's Red and the English beer.
When I was into lager, to be
You
honest.
can't get that shit here anymore now.
Yeah, don't even
No,
do
well,
it here
Watney's,
now.
Watney's Red's done, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I
gone.
mean, but I've been here 47 years and I don't drink American beer at all in the States. I just can't touch the shit. And, you know, when I had the liquor store, of
We
course.
just clarify that we're actually in England. And
Yeah, I know.
But Wilco lives in the States, and so does Granny.
Yeah.
So
There are some good beers, but they tend to make it too cold. They can't help themselves. I go to a little brew pub in Monrovia. Was that?
Loses all the flavour.
Yeah. I said to them, you know, can I get a glass that's not chilled? And they're like, what? I said, just me. I said, the beer's cold enough. Let it sit for a minute, and then you get a bit of flavour.
Yeah,
I'm not a
That's it.
expert.
You're serving cold beer, and they get the glasses in the fridge.
I know.
You know, they've got ice on them.
I know. Well, see, you need that with that Coors Light and all that. You need something to give it some zip.
No, you don't drink it.
Yeah, well,
That's the best way.
no, but there are some good breweries now in the States. But they get it's not to rag on America and Americans, but when they get into something, they really get into it, don't they? And it's almost then it's overload.
Yeah.
So now there's thousands of choices. You go from having nothing, and now you've got endless coffee shops, and the average coffee order takes 3 minutes. You go, just want a cup of coffee, just a cup of coffee, and everyone else is having light this, goat milk that, and
Yeah. And your name? What's it fucking got to do with you?
I know. They actually
But we love America. We do. We love America. It's just that this is noticing the differences. We're not ragging on it.
we're comparing it,
we're not
40,
ragging on
40
America.
50 years ago.
Yeah,
and,
they
you
used
know,
to say it was separated by a common language, you know, English, because the Americans don't speak English. They speak American version of it.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
But now, when you get there and you point out all these different things, you know, like you can't get a boiling water anywhere. They don't boil water.
yeah, but let's just go back to when not a lot of people travelled, you know, so America was just like America. It had its own sort of mini culture with its own crappy coffee and its, you know, and they just got on with it like that. We had, you know, from here, we didn't fuck all.
Yeah.
And when we went there, it was like, wow, what the hell?
We had cucumber
But
sandwiches
now-
and they had Reuben.
Real
Foot eyes.
deli sandwiches.
Wow.
But it's all merged now, isn't it? You've got American stuff here, you've got English stuff over there.
Yeah, you go to a
You
little
can even get fish and chips over there now.
go to a little country pub in England somewhere, there's Bud Light and Coors and stuff in the fridge, and everybody's into it. Good look at them.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned Special Brew. Carlsberg Special Brew, that was my favourite brew back then. I mean, I totally overdid it. And I just had a flashback, if I can expound on it. It was like, you remember I worked with Steel Eye Span? They were like a folk group, very genteel. And me and James, I was a very bad influence on James. James was a very smart guy, and I was a bit of a tearaway. And so we kind of met in the middle. But we were doing these gigs, and we got them to provide us with one or two little pallets of Special Brew each gig. Well, after about 4, I mean, you really feel the effects. It was brewed for Winston Churchill because he had no taste buds after all those cigars, so they made him a strong beer. So at the end of this tour, we were doing a gig at the really classy gig in Brighton. Is it the Dome? Might be the Dome. Yeah. Really elegant. And the crowd for the Steel Eye Span is all middle of the road, clean-cut people. Well, I was at the height of grannyism on this tour. And there was this gay promoter. I can't remember his name. He was quite a sport, but they were handing out little mementos like to all the crew and everybody. So James goes out and they give him like a little goblet, like a medieval goblet inscribed, "Thanks for the hard work on the tour, James Atkinson." Crowd goes, "Hey, hello." My fucking turn comes out. Well, I walk out. This is when I'm in the hair and the beard and the big fucking ugly granny phase. I walk out there. He introduces me, and I snatch the goblet, pour my Special Brew in it, throw the fucking bottle away, chug down the Special Brew, and I grabbed this fucking guy. He's in front of the audience. I spun him around. Bear in mind, he's gay. And I had him down on the back, and I was doggy styling him. I looked at the audience like, and they're all like, he just looked at me like, thank you, Granny. Imagine people in the audience going up, what do you remember the show? All I remember, and I don't want to remember, that fucking roadie shagging the promoter. Special Brew. Yeah. I haven't had it for years. We had it in New York a few times. I brought some over.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Just had a flashback there. I had to tell it.
Yeah, there's a photograph of us with a couple of bottles of it.
That's right.
It's fucking excellent
Special Brew. Dangerous stuff. And the Golden Lion, what was the landlord's name?
Sean.
He gave me 2 cases of it to take back to the States, and I shipped it over, but they wouldn't let me bring it in the country. They wouldn't let me even pay a bondage. They said it's too strong to come in this country.
Too strong, yeah.
So I said, well, if you're going to drink it, be careful. So, it's just too much.
The Golden Lion was a bar in Fulham where
roadies,
everybody,
bands,
rock stars and roadies, they had strippers every lunchtime. And there was a police station virtually next door, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer had a recording rehearsal studio
Manticore
next to the police station, and so everybody was anybody. Led Zeppelin were in there. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, what's his name? The drummer from Jimi Hendrix.
Mitch Mitchell.
Mitch Mitchell lived across the street from the Golden Lion, literally across the street.
It was the hang, definitely.
Everybody just hung out there. And at night they'd have bands, and it was lots of good jam sessions, great jam sessions, because there was great musicians hanging out there. And whoever was playing, they'd go, "Oh, can we get up? You take over."
Yeah, he was great. Sean was cool. He would let it open after hours. But I did a Supertramp tour, and I finished in December, and I was staying at the horrible, boring little Hilton at Shepherd's Bush by the roundabout. And I thought, I'm going to go to a pub. I'm going to find a pub. I had about $1,000 per diem left over, and at the time the pound and the dollar were on a par, so I was well off. And I was just walking around. I saw a pub. I walk in, and this little old bloke goes, "You want to be upstairs, mate?" I said, "I'm sorry." He goes, you want to go upstairs, trust me. So I go up. Sean was now running this pub, and he had a roadie bar upstairs. So I checked out. He says, you got a room here if you want. I checked out the Hilton. I went to move into the pub, and for a week it was just insanity. It was good. He just said, with the honour system, just write down what you drink. And I thought by the end of the week, what am I going to owe? I got like 200 quid. It was nothing. But it was fantastic. Talk about unexpected. And I didn't know he'd left the Golden Lion. And
he had a place, him and Sport, he had a place. What was it called? The Church.
The Backpackers.
No, it was called the Church.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember
because on Sunday, it was open on Sunday, and it's called the Church. They did start it at the Golden Lion, but then it moved out to Ealing.
The one I knew was in King's Cross, the Backpackers.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the Church.
Yeah. This one's called the Church, and it was all Australians, and it used to open at 12 on a Sunday. They had the liquor laws. You couldn't serve liquor until 12, right? So they used to sell raffle tickets, and you'd win with 6-packs as prizes, and they'd do these raffles because there was 200 people in a queue, and they'd all wait, and they'd be fucking going down there, buy a raffle ticket, win a fucking 6-pack.
Brilliant. Go on the system.
Yeah,
I never went there. I never knew about
it. I did. I went there. Yeah, actually. I went there. I only went there the once, and it was where they had the wake for Sean after he died.
Oh yeah,
aneurysm.
Aneurysm.
Yeah,
that's the way to go.
Yeah,
that's the way.
Straight
bang,
no messing around.
He had an aneurysm, and he got buried at the church. Or his service was at the church on the river near Hampton Court.
Oh yeah,
there's a church there. And we all went back to the church for his wake.
I'm sure it was.
And Jock was there, and everybody. Lynn.
Lynn Cox.
At his pub in Shepherd's Bush, he says, "We've got a spare room." He says, "But if the guy's coming back, he'll need his room." And this is that SAS special ops guy. He says, "You don't want to, when he needs his room, Granny." I said, "I got the message. Don't worry about it." I never came face to face with him. He's probably up in Bosnia or somewhere, blowing people up.
Well, there was the bunch that used to get in the Golden Lion in the early days, and they were rumoured to go to Brazil and kidnap Ronnie Biggs to bring him back to England.
Okay. And
they kidnapped him, right?
I heard about
and took him to one of the British Virgin Islands. And they said, "No, you can't do that. You've got to let him go. He's been forcibly removed." And he said, "Yeah, but we're not police. We're SAS."
Yeah.
There was that guy in there, like a big Scottish guy, and he used to do push-ups with these old ladies sitting on his back. fucking talk about fucking.
Yeah.
Fucking. I think there was 3 of them, and as it happened, I think it was sponsored a bit. I think between Richard Branson and the Daily Mail or the Sun, set it all up because they were wearing these Virgin T-shirts and the Sun, Virgin, the Sun printed on these T-shirts when they got to the British Virgin Islands, to turn him in.
That's funny. Yeah, that was when London back then was still such a fun. I don't know what's
fucking
like in London now, but it was fun. Back
I
then.
remember leaving there one night, another drink, and again, I'm glad I don't drink anymore. I don't drink
any more than you need to.
I don't drink any less. But
Right.
I was driving home from there. I lived in Barnes, and this was in Fulham, Broadway. And I was driving home, and I started puking up in the car while I was driving. And I'm puking. It's fucking splattering the windscreen and everything. And I better stop. And I fucking pulled over. Fucking must have passed out. Fucking woke up. The engine's still running. Yeah, the engine's still running. The lights are on. Better get myself fucking home. Put it in gear and off I went.
Oh dear.
Don't do anything like that.
No, do not.
Do not try this at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't dream of doing
A
it
few
now.
people have hit
Would
the
not
trees
dream.
in barns.
But back then it was, the old mindset, the culture and everything. But looking back, you just think, how dangerous was that? How dangerous. We used to all do it.
Oh, no, every one of us. 3-ton
Drunk
truck.
driving.
3-ton truck.
Yeah.
Fucking Marquee Club. All the drinking we did down there with Phil Lynott, Mitch Mitchell, Gary Moore, Baz Ward. Remember that fight we got into? Fucking hell. That was fucking mental.
Tell it, Wilco, tell it.
Well, what I remember was fucking Mal comes out and he's like, there's these fucking guys looking over the fucking door to my old lady having a piss. And we're like, oh, we'll have a look at that too. About 1 hour away, we just beat the fuck out of them, I think it was like 5 of them, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was...
Fucking Baz had his belt round one of his necks, dragging him down Wardell Street.
He did, yeah.
I was kicking one of the fuck, giving
Another
him one
one,
the police stomp.
we were going to Dingwalls. We were on our way to Dingwalls. We'd left the Marquee. We were on our way to Dingwalls. Walking along the street and he's there. He's probably fucking arguing with some fucking traffic light or something. Me. Probably arguing with the traffic light. But we were walking and some guys fucking collared him and he's arguing with them, and all of a sudden this guy just goes like this. Mick Hinton, who was the drummer for Bonham, he was the drum roadie for Bonham, Led Zeppelin at the time, and Mick just could see him. This guy, I think he had you by the throat.
Yeah,
and,
I don't remember any
and
of that.
Mick walked by and he just went, poof, hit this fucking guy a right-hander, and the guy just toppled. Yeah. All right, Granny. And he just kept on walking.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember that at all. Don't remember that. But sounds like me.
Yeah, sound like you.
Yeah.
Fucking have an argument with himself in this fucking phone box.
Yeah.
Well, as we all know, it's like helping each other out at gigs. We all turn up and unload, whatever. Annie Toshner, that night at Dingwalls. And we're all like, grip, and it's fucking bouncing. I wasn't even expecting it. He just got my face and ran it down the side of the wall.
Oh, yeah, it was a brick wall.
Yeah, it was a brick wall, and I didn't lose my eye, I don't know. I turned around and kicked the fucker in the balls. He went down. And Annie Tosh was like, what are you going to do? I said, you know what I'm going to do, you motherfucker? I'm taking my PA system out of here. And it was one of his bands. And he goes, it was the Tremolo sound system.
Yeah.
All right.
And it wasn't a rock band. It was just some fucking couple of guys playing. I went, you can all fuck yourselves. And the manager of the Dingwalls knew us all, It's like, we'll go. I went, fuck off. The bouncer just fucking loafed me, you cunt. And I did. I took my system down. But that was in
I think
Dingwalls the night with the orgasm, and that was a good night.
That was another night.
Yeah.
Sound system. I think it was Steve Ellis's sound system, and we had it in the Marquee.
Yeah.
With Sparks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the fucking one of the brothers kept hitting the mic on the fucking mic stand. And he marched on fucking stage, said, do that once more, I'm going to fucking knock you out.
Not me. I'm a nice guy. I don't think so. But yeah, I remember them. Yeah, they were quirky, weren't they?
Yeah.
Still around,
Oh,
I think.
yeah.
Well, they're still around.
Yeah,
They
very
kind
good.
of they've become very popular again. All of a sudden, they've just done a soundtrack for a movie. I think they live in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, brothers.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They live in LA.
You can hear more from the Rock and Roll Rowdies on all major podcast platforms. And please follow us on facebook.com/Rock and Roll Rowdies. Yeah!